swear to God, this is not The Office, but no, Marjorie Greene will not shut up about the sun and about how we need access to it. And we can't let these damn scientists cut us off from the life-giving sun. All this sounds insane, and it is, but it's based on something. See, this video was put out about how Bill Gates is gonna be doing some experiments on the sort of like efforts you could do in the atmosphere to reflect a little bit of solar radiation or something you can do to stop a bit of climate change. And she takes that seed of truth and spins off into deep orbit because she says, blocking out the sun, this is absolute insanity. Bill Gates and climate lunatics should be stopped from doing this. The sun is the Earth's source of life. Which is not wrong, it is, but it's just so funny. It would be like if your dog barked in a way that it made the sounds, the sun is the Earth's source of life. It's like, yeah, that's true, but like you don't really know what you're talking about there. And to be very clear, the solar geoengineering project that they're talking about is not to fully block out the sun. It would block like 0.2% of solar radiation. Like, can you read for 5 seconds before talking about something? And by the way, you can be against these ideas. You can think that they're unwise, but you should at least have minimal wisdom before you opine on what scientists have been debating for years, if not decades. And so I am glad, as our producer notes, hey, we finally have a conservative on the record as saying that pumping the atmosphere full of stuff might actually be bad. I wish they had gotten on that train a few decades ago, but I just wish that she understood literally anything about this, because she could, as we were talking about, she could be in the Senate or something, and she just is too stupid for her own good, let alone ours.
Right, this is the worst, and the worst part about the criticism of people on the left right now presents itself in this very story.
Yeah.
Where they say, why are you always calling us stupid? And it's like, I am calling her stupid. She is calling us stupid all the time.
Yeah.
And suffers no consequences for it. But if we point out, like, A, you don't know anything you're talking about. B, you're talking about Jewish space lasers. Like, that's the truth. You are very stupid, as proven, not by me, as not by anyone who can draw breath and like was in first grade. I understand why the responsibility is on me to win voters over to my side.
Yeah.
But what's just so thoroughly sad is like what you have to do to be like, oh, little girl, that is an interesting point you try to make, but you realize that the sun can also be bad. And I also want to just put out there, like, I don't know anything about this plan that Bill Gates had. It sounds terrifying. I would like to learn more about it. And I think it is the beginning of many sci-fi movies where we all die. Try it on Venus first.
Probably. Well, Venus has got its own problem with heat, definitely. But okay, so the basic idea here is you inject aerosols into the stratosphere. Marine cloud brightening would be localized with this, and you use sea salt aerosols. Not like there's been talk about using like tiny little microparticles of like reflective metals and stuff like that. They're not. This is not. It's not damaging. Now they do say there are possible consequences of shifting weather patterns and things like that. Again, all of this is way over Marjorie Greene's head. It's in the atmosphere actually. But these are things that scientists actually debate about. And you know how you find out if it would be damaging? Limited trial run experiments. That's what the scientific method is. And no, you don't just figure it out by screaming at someone on Twitter, Marjorie Greene. And so, like, is it the answer? I don't know. Let's play a little bit of the clip that she was responding to, and maybe we'll have more information at that point than she will.
Bill Gates is backing the first high-altitude experiment of one radical climate change solution, creating a massive chemical cloud that could cool the Earth. It's called solar geoengineering, and it's highly controversial. It would look something like this. Thousands of planes would fly very high and use nozzles to inject millions of tons of light-reflecting particles into the stratosphere. It would create a thin chemical cloud of those particles around the whole planet, blocking some sunlight from reaching the surface. It would mimic a giant volcanic eruption, which we know cools the Earth.
Yes. Now if she watched that, would be like, Bill Gates is gonna set off volcanoes or something. No, that's not. Again, doesn't mean it's a good idea. Doesn't mean it would be effective. Doesn't mean it would be cost effective at all, theoretically. It could alter the weather patterns. It could also, Marge, you fill the atmosphere with that, and suddenly those Jewish space lasers, they may not get through, or they might be weaker. Think about that. Rothschilds or whatever. And so I don't know, can I win her over with that? Again, and by the way, some people are like, well, if you start doing these sorts of experiments and you publicize it a lot, then maybe some people will be like, oh, well, we don't need to do the other stuff to fight the climate, because don't worry, the scientists will just fill the atmosphere, and that could actually harm overall efforts. But again, we're getting into actual nuanced conversations about pros and cons, which again, Marge is in no way equipped for.
I'm definitely invoking the everybody in this story sucks farts trope. That is my coined.
Bill Gates sucks
term.
farts.
I think everybody in the story sucks farts. Like, we're trying. Like, don't just essentially be like, what's it called? What's the conspiracy theory about injecting stuff into the sky out the back of jets?
The contrails.
Chemtrails.
Chemtrails, yeah.
Don't make chemtrails proposals, dude. You sound. And it really is feeding it to the back.
Now, how excited was Alex Jones when he saw this? 100%.
It's so bad. Like, everybody sucks. And she's demonstrating why the pitch sucks. And I feel like we have a bunch of other ways we could try to, like, like, don't say, I would like to, my solution works much like a volcano. These are all bad ideas. And at worst and at best, it's bad marketing.
Yeah. Again, I'm open to a lot of, we're entering into very difficult times, and there doesn't seem to be much of the will for other solutions. But again, doesn't mean I think it's an amazing idea. I also don't think it's going to cast us into 1,000 years of darkness, Marjorie Greene. But what do I know? I'm a lefty, and she's been labeling them, including AOC recently, a twit. She called her a twit. And I know, we're gonna move on to AOC and other stuff, but like, I'm in a bubble. I know that I am biased or whatever. They think that we're biased. I think that they're biased. Things aren't just equal though. Like, I know, Marge, you think that you're their version of AOC. You're not as smart as this is not a bubble thing. This is right. I'm not in a bubble. Like, she's
not as smart as AOC, period.
Hold on, that's fine as a comparison. If you think that it makes sense to declare that AOC, not even in comparison to Marge, is dumb, that is objectively a stupid thing to say. That is not just a thing where like we get to have different opinions, we're biased or whatever. You can hate her, you can think that she's extreme or radical or whatever. You do not get to think that she is dumb. Like, for instance, I hate watching Logan Paul wrestle. It bothers me every time it happens, but not because he's in bad shape. Not because he can't do flips or whatever. I can say I hate it, but it still has to have a relationship to reality, okay? Right. But Marge doesn't think that, and all of her fans who in the comments will be like, oh, AOC's dumb. No, she just isn't, I'm sorry. Reality didn't turn out that way for you.
Right, like I think that JK Rowling is like, why, like something's wrong with her. But Harry Potter's fine. Like,
well, it's got some issues, but she
Harry
wrote books
Potter,
that were popular.
No, that's it. Stop it, John. It has
some specific issues. I like it. I read it. It has some specific issues.
But yeah, okay. So specific issues is fine, but like, don't. You have to separate the art from the artist, not in whether you go see it or not, but if your appraisal of the quality of work, like Andrew Schultz says some weird ass, like super distraught. His stand-up special is great.
No, I get what you're saying.
You got to be able to do that, and it might be difficult at some time. But once you start doing what Marjorie Taylor Greene's doing, you're letting your biases, as you point out, like warp reality in a way that is not only destructive to like you should have an accurate understanding of reality, but also destructive to your message.
Yeah, and at the same time, a great demonstration of Dunning-Kruger, because she is so ignorant that she is not capable of understanding how ignorant she actually is. But one of the bits of trivia about TDR that I love is that early on, one of our most popular videos was with Dunning. I think it was Dunning. He came on the show and explained the Dunning-Kruger effect, and it did very well, actually. That was a lot of fun.
Why was Freddy Krueger not available? Because it's not a night show?
Yeah, most people don't know that he took time off of horror movies to do academic research.